Wednesday, the 3rd of September. We're moving along here. Kids are back in school. We've got some weather to talk about. We got fire weather. We got the TCU September Lightning Complex down towards or east towards Copperopolis, Modesto, up in the hills there. So a number of fire starts yesterday. Firefighters doing a nice job on it, but there was a number. There's more than 3 or 4. There's a few more than that. And so they're having some issues with the smoke in that area. We'll look at the air quality. We'll also look at thunderstorms that are now creating red flag warnings up in northeast California. Those say that same area of moisture and instability is moving north. So we'll look at that. We'll look at temperatures today and the next couple of days, which will be more helpful for firefighters. Temperatures today are going to be a little bit cooler. Temperatures tomorrow are going to be even cooler still, and then they're going to hover. So that's for the entire state. Temperatures are going to kind of just come down out of the above average range, typical for this time of year, and go to about where we should be or a little below average, which will be helpful to firefighters as well. So we saw that lightning event yesterday. Could see parts of it from the Bay Area early in the morning, and then certainly Sacramento. And again, Modesto was lit up last night and yesterday with hundreds and hundreds of lightning strikes, which is very scary. There was a lot of rain, or a good amount of rain that came out, but there was some dry lightning, and hence the issues. First thing we're going to do is take a look at the TCU September Lightning Complex. It started off at fire 2/7, let's see, and that was at Milton Road. And then they just clumped them all together. So these fires all have designations 2.8, 2.7, 1.1, 6.2. These are all part of the same complex, essentially, the two numbers set up. So we can start off, let's go do this. Let's look at air quality first of all. You can see we've got the visible satellite up. First thing I would notice is, let me drop this off, is this. Good morning, by the way. It's trying to get a little earlier on these. This is about 9 o'clock. So this is that subtropical moisture, and it's being pushed off this way. There's a low pressure that's kind of grinding it out. But what's happened is this area, this is the smoke, but this area up here is still unstable. And so this instability is going to fire off, and is firing off more thunderstorms right now. So in the current, let me drop this down. We'll take a look at their current radar. This is my own. This is called Radar Scope. And it's a pretty useful tool. And you can see the lightning strikes up around Quincy. Let me see if I'll stop the loop on this. And you can see, let's see if we go. Man, that's a pretty good this morning early. So you can see it pushing on. Let me see if I can get a further north radar going here. Just every once in a while you switch radars. Yeah, there we go. So that's a little better. And what you're seeing are some significant lightning strikes, Susanville, Chester, and these are all areas, of course, that are prone to fire, as you know. There is some rain coming down, but there's also some thunderstorms in the area, so we'll keep an eye on that. Most likely there will be some small fire starts today. But you can see down in the TCU complex area, the lightning has ended for now. So a lot going on today weather-wise. There's the smoke. That's air quality. That's going to affect Modesto, getting into Fresno and parts of Bakersfield. And that smoke, really aggressive this morning, kind of comes out of the hills and pushes down into the valley. This is the fog along the coast. Marine layer is up over 2,500 feet deep. So you're seeing that's evidence of this cooling that's coming. So I know. So I'm talking fire and I'm talking weather. They're connected. If I was just talking weather, the first thing I would tell you is cooler, milder for Northern California, Central California, and much of Southern California. A milder weather pattern. Once all this clears out and the lightning strikes go away, we're going to be into a cooler pattern. But this continues through today and then potentially again into tomorrow, but a much lesser scale. So we'll look at that. We can see that we'll look at the HRRR model. So the air quality, a mess. This is Fowler looking north towards Copperopolis. I'm going to do a 24-hour. This gives you an idea of how yesterday went. The cameras do bounce around a little because they're using them for firefighting. But you can see here, kind of switching from north view angles, but you see the smoke, then you see some cumulus build up from the fire, then you see some showers, and then you see some smoke settle in the morning, and then now this is this morning. And you see the smoke still lingering and most of the high clouds leaving. That was from the Fowler camera. This is 24 hours again. This one's from the Mount Bullion, looking towards Mariposa. And this is a great encapsulation of yesterday. Like, right, some shafts, some smoke, a fire, some showers, fighting it overnight. Just a busy, busy time. Now, weather for fighting fires, certainly, there's the smoke from this morning, certainly better than it could be. I mean, it could be really bad, right? But fires in California in September are a spooky thing. And I know a lot of folks yesterday, especially with those lightning strikes, it was really very touch and go. And some communities touched by this. So there's more fire lookout stuff. And you can kind of see that was the day yesterday. Hit and miss, smoke, overnight fire. You see some, looks like choppers in the air. Wow. So this was yesterday. That's again in that TCU complex. I think today they're going to have good. The containment is slow on these fires. We can take a look. But I suspect, so this is the complex again. This is the Garnett fire. This is not part of that complex, but certainly part of the smoke problem. And you can see the fire kind of punching out smoke there. The thing's huge. The Garnett fire has been burning for a while. It's at 12% containment, 30,000 acres. Big fire. That's further south. This TCU complex further to the north. So these are where the lightning strikes were. And again, there were hundreds of lightning strikes. So one of the things that's a little bit concerning is, and these acreage on these fires, they're not massive, right? And Cal Fire's just unprecedented this year, has done a pretty good job, basically what I can tell, overnight managing these fires. I think the weather didn't hurt. But these fires, they should get a good handle on them today, I guess what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's just, anytime you get lightning in September. Let's check out the 2.7 fire. I think I said the 2.7, this was the big one. This was Milton Road. They got 0% containment. They got 500, almost 600 acres on that fire. They had, let's see what they got on it now. It's been updated to the perimeter. This fire is pushing 500 acres. Additional resources are being requested. Fire's been mapped for, okay. So they're just throwing a lot at it. I'm sure if you're down in that area, you see it going on in the air. A lot of air support right now. We'll keep an eye on that today. And again, the area of concern, that was yesterday's fire starts. Today's fire starts will be more, could be, and probably will be more up towards Quincy. One of the things I wanted to mention is you look at PurpleAir, air quality in this area. When you do have lightning strikes, like even yesterday, a lot of times you'll have lightning strikes and it'll be kind of raining and the fire doesn't really take off. It just creates a smoldering area. And then tomorrow when it warms up more, that smoldering area. So you get these kind of post lightning strike day and a half, 2 days later, fire starts, right? So we're not, so Cal Fire's got their work cut out for sure. So here is the fire zone. Here is the air quality. It is not good. The air quality is really miserable, quite frankly, especially down towards Merced, Modesto, Fresno, kind of towards Visalia as well. And that continues today. Winds will be out of the west. No major wind event. It might be blowing, I saw some reports, maybe 15 to 25 miles an hour. But the HRRR model, surface wind sustains are more like 5 to 6 miles an hour, kind of out of the northwest. So not a big wind event, which is something you would look for. And then you can see some of these fires still burning up in the Trinity Alps, air quality concerns. Smoke, you see the Canadian wildfires. Let me move this up just a little bit. I hate this time of year, kind of. Just because the fire, it is scary, right? And yesterday was, I know a lot of folks work for Cal Fire were just like, oh no, right? Especially when you have lightning. We had lightning, we had nocturnal lightning up in the valley, and that's, nighttime. So it's not even, the day isn't even started yet, and you already have these lightning strikes. This is smoke over the next day or two. You see the valley smoke. Really not horrible. I think the Washington, Oregon, those dark areas represent some significant smoke for you. Smoke plumes coming into Minnesota, North Dakota. These are from the Canadian wildfires. So California doesn't look too horrible on the smoke. I'll open this up. This is Mount Tamalpais. Hope you have a good day today. Oh, let's do some temperatures. Reading today will be 101. Marine layer's deeper, so it's going to be cooler. So the cooling trend kind of started yesterday, continues today, and be more pronounced on Thursday and Friday. Reading 101, Sacramento 93 degrees today. The fire zone, the TCU complex, will be 95 degrees on average. So pretty, humidities will be 18%, 17%. So it's going to be lower humidities. Winds are manageable, I would say, but it'll be hot for the firefighters. LA, Los Angeles, 90 degrees. Santa Barbara, 79. San Francisco, 70. And San Diego, 70 degrees. Marin County, Mill Valley, today will go 75 degrees. And that's Mill Valley's under this fog right now. We'll put a loop on it, and you'll see that the fog kind of pretty deep. It fills in overnight. That's Mill Valley to the left. And I do this as just sort of a broad brush for how deep is the inversion. We don't even need to look at the profiler because we're up at 2,500 feet, and now we're looking at the top of the fog, and it's coming up here towards the last couple of minutes or last couple hours. So I'd call that 2,200 foot inversion, and I think it shows it at 2,500 feet at Fort Ord. Again, this is the profiler. We'll keep looking at it. This is yesterday when the marine layer was really shallow, the top of the cloud bank. And then slowly last night, the marine layer, the blue line, really started to get really deep late last night. So that was significant cooling. And then this morning, it's begun to pinch down a little bit, and it's now just over 2,000 feet. So what does that tell me? It tells me that low pressure came in. The high pressure got whittled away. The marine layer was able to stretch out. And temperatures today should be a few degrees cooler. Okay, and so here are the watches and warnings. There's that red flag warning for Northern California for those thunderstorms that we're watching right now moving up through Susanville, up in this area. And again, that area not as robust and as aggressive as what we had yesterday, but you do see all those lightning strikes over the last hour or so moving out of Susanville. Most of this activity will move up into the Bernie, MacArthur area, in the neck, what already is. But most of that should be out of the area. I would say hopefully by this afternoon, this evening. I think Mount Shasta, you'll see some of this as well. So live radar representing the red flag warning in this zone. And then heat advisories up around Washington and Oregon. And then heat advisories down towards Santa Barbara, where, like I said, Santa Barbara will be almost 80 degrees today, but warmer inland from Santa Barbara, like Ojai. And then the green represents that chance for some thunderstorms further south. So let's see what we got here. Okay, good. Okay, moving on. These are the current temperatures. This is the California observation map. So this is at 9 o'clock this morning. And a good litmus will be, let's say that's Red Bluff. Yeah, Red Bluff right now, 71 degrees. That's not bad. Overnight low, what was overnight low? Minimum temp was 70. So yeah, that's a pretty warm night, huh? So you can see sort of the zone areas here. This is flood watch effective until today at 6:54 a.m. Effective. Flood watch range through this evening. Okay, got it. So that flood watch is for some potential thunderstorm activity. These are the temperature forecasts for today. 93 up towards Wairika. Ever been to Wairika? Like, that was no end of confusion to me because when I was a kid, we played football and ran track against Wairika. They were in the north section. But we thought, Wairika, Eureka. It was always one of those, like, what? Kind of a mind F, and we're like, what's going on here? And at one point in time, I looked up the origins of Wairika, and I forgot. I can't remember what it is anymore. I'm not gonna Google search it. 70 degrees in San Francisco today, as I said, and you can see the heat kind of taking a break. Of course, it is September. The sun angle's changing. During the month of September, we're losing daylight, right? So you've noticed that. During the month of September, we lose like 60 minutes of daylight from the beginning of September to the beginning of October, an hour of daylight. So if you notice the day is getting shorter, that's a sun angle thing, and yeah, it's definitely becoming fall. This I did not want to have happen. What did I want to show you? I guess I wanted to show you the HRRR. Oh, that's what we're going to do. I don't know how that happened. And we're going to look at I'm going to line this up. This is the rainfall. And this it's incomplete data. So let's see how much we can get out of it. Oh, I see what we're doing. Okay, hang on. Dang you guys, sorry. Okay, so we'll have to use the 14Z. And then we'll go back here. This is HRRR, rapid update, and we're watching those thunderstorms, okay? And here we go. You see that area up here. So this is just hour by hour. And so you see it not as robust, certainly as yesterday with that TCU complex, but you see later on this afternoon, like right now we're coming into this after lunchtime, you'll start to see some eruptions. See, there's still some lingering moisture over the TCU complex. So this stuff could still be active and productive for thunder and lightning. And then you kind of see. So you see it's certainly a lesser severe environment than it was yesterday. Okay, well, that's just how that's going to go. That's how you're going to be today. Okay, so we're going to go. Had them set up before, but sometimes they drop out. So vorticity, and let's just do this, and then we'll go here. I'm looking at vorticity because I want to show you the trend, which is put a box around us. I'll remember to do that today. But you see that trough, right? So there's California. This is the jet stream. And you can see that's kind of the ridge. See how it's getting pinched? There's the trough. And the ridge is getting pinched between these two lows, this low here and this low here. And everything's generally moving from west to east. So these lows, and you'll see that when I start this up again, you'll see those lows. That low's a little cut off, but it's pinching and pushing, and then it pushes through, kind of undercuts the high. And that's the cooling. That's the milder weather that we're going to experience. So fire danger, the Cal Fire guys are watching this going, okay. And then as they plan their fire attack, and it stays this way for a while, so no big changes. As they plan their attack for fire, they're looking at the long-range models, and they're going, okay, this is what we got. This is how we're going to fight this fire. They factor it into, obviously, the way they fight the fire. Let's do temperature. I guess we're on the North American, are we? Let's do North American model. So you probably know how to do this already. I hope you do. And so I'm just pointing out the milder weather. North American goes out a little longer. So here's this afternoon. Temperatures in the Central Valley will still be in the 90s. Like I said, Redding will go 101. That's one of the hot spots. Bakersfield will be 101. But you see that purple area, that's today. Then tomorrow, watch those purple areas kind of shrink up a little bit. And then further shrinkage, if you will, on Friday, much more. Still nice. I mean, still very warm, but if you looked at these and you realize you've got a bit of a sea breeze, the winds are going the right way. So what I'm showing you here is a general, that's milder too. That's on Saturday afternoon, much more mild. Temperatures just in the 90s in the Central Valley. We could put, like, they're sticking Sacramento on Saturday afternoon, Sacramento 85 degrees for daytime high. So that indicates the cooling. Okay, alrighty. Yeah, the fire stuff, one of the things I've talked about a lot with you guys is the PTSD that goes with fires. Like, because I was Paradise, Coffee Park, I've been in some big fires. I was at Paradise actually, kind of towards the mid-morning afternoon. But when you've been chased out, and I know a number of people, when they smell smoke now, they just freak out. And so yesterday was a scary day for a lot of people because a lot of people have smelled smoke in a kind of a I have to flee way. And that, if you haven't had that, it's a trigger. Even if somebody burns a steak, it's a trigger for you. And I understand that. And so when a day like yesterday comes around, it's like, geez, this is, there's a lot of people that are concerned and nervous and even more than that. So I understand. I feel your pain. And I mean, it's California, and I remember my wife, we had a fire. I was in Marin for a bunch of years, and we had a fire in the house next door. It was winter, fortunately. Big fire, though. And she woke up, called the fire department and everything. But to this day, she smells smoke because it was terrifying, right? She had my Avery was at home with her, and the house right next door was on fire, and there was trees between, So I saw it firsthand 30 years ago, and then I saw it again in Paradise. So this is the subtropical moisture that see there's the low, if this low, well, let me just start again. This is the parent low, right? That one we shed that was pushing in. If this low were not pushing that moisture off, then we would be looking at more thunderstorms. Well, we might see a little bit more, but really significant, because that is a lot of subtropical moisture. These are dying tropical storms, but they're being pushed, shunted further east. And you see that, right? So if this moisture was over here and came in, it would be shunted further east, which in this case would cause thunder, lightning, probably for Bay Area even. So it's sometimes this all comes down to luck, and this is a lucky, fortunate pattern for us that this low is where it is today and not further west, and that this subtropical moisture is where it is and not further west as well. I hope that made sense. So that's the other thing too. No matter, I always think about how it's so, I don't know if serendipity is the right word, but things in weather happen almost like that Texas flood earlier this year, or Palisades fire. It's kind of like chaos theory. Lots of stuff's going on, and just one thing gets lined up just right, and boom, paradise. Boom, Palisades. Boom, Texas floods. And that's the thing it's not frightening about weather, but it's just a realization that I've gotten over these years is if you click enough things into place and line it up just right, if it's a little off, it won't happen. Coffee Park's a great example, because Coffee Park, that was a big fire in Santa Rosa, one of the first big ones outside of the campfire, and it's a funnel. Fountain Grove's a funnel, and the wind direction was just right. It got funneling down this narrow. The scale of it is, it's not a huge canyon. The winds hit it perfect and just blowtorch, accelerated Venturi effect, increased fire burn, right down into the flatlands. So, and that was just, if the wind had been 4 degrees, 3 degrees north or south the other way, wouldn't be the same. I mean, it would have, who can say, right? Okay, so weather it's one of those things. It really is. It's just things line up, and bad things can happen, or bad things you're just missing bad things. And I think we've all seen bad things happen and be missed. Okay, these are the 6 to 10 day temperature outlooks. Below average makes sense for California, because we were talking about that low that's going to be lingering there. So that looks interesting. Let's see what the precip 6 to 10 day. A little more aggressive on the precip up here, which makes sense because that trough is up there. So that will help the fire danger in the Pacific Northwest greatly. This is coming up. This is the swell model. So this is wave heights. This isn't wave energy. We've switched gears now, right? So we know temperatures are going to be yellow. By the way, yellow's the red is what you want, right? That's some stuff right there. That's red stuff. But the swells, I wanted to show you this because the Aleutians are starting to get active now. Before, all the reds, all the swell energy, the storm energy was in the southern hemisphere, their winter. But now we're seeing our swell energy begin to increase, which indicates that we're getting closer to fall and winter. And that's when our swell comes up. For my money, the best swell is in the fall. This is for Friday. You see that big red area coming out of the Aleutians? That's probably a storm. A big low that's created surface winds is creating that. So that's kind of fun to watch, huh? So you can see it just sort of just change the seasons. You were looking at it in terms of wave height, but that wave height can be translated to jet stream positioning, can be related to temperature profiles in the atmosphere. It's just the season's changing. Here we are into September 11th, and okay, so there we go. Let's take a look at some surf. Covered here a lot of stuff. The fires kind of got me going there, just because it's a lot to think about. And then again, today we're not out of the woods because you got to fight the fires. I'm not horribly concerned. I am concerned. I feel some structures have been lost, some people have lost possessions, which is horrible. But in terms of this thing turning into a TCU complex like we had a few years back, it doesn't appear that we're going to have those kinds of problems. But that's because Cal Fire is ridiculously awesome. Ocean Beach right now, a little blown out. They're calling it fair today. Surf's about 2 to 4. We'll head down to Malibu. Maybe we won't. Yeah, look at us. We are. Okay. Oh, there's a bird on the Surfrider sign. And they must be friends. I was going to say there's something worse than dropping. They're ruthless. Like, see that guy just dropping in? It's like, dude, that's not cool. See, that guy's got the wave. But that's how it is. And longboarders, I guess, can get away with that. So if you're on the wave, if there's somebody on the wave riding and they're going to make it, or they might make it, like this guy, don't drop in on him. Don't paddle. Okay, he backed out. So that's the source of most beef in surfing. Okay, this is Mount Shasta and Black Butte to the north. Now we're looking towards that. This is the zone that's having the lightning strikes moving into it. So we're closer to MacArthur and those areas where the storm is moving in, and you can see that. You can see the mountain loading up. So yeah, very turbulent sky. Thunderstorms back in the forecast for them in the next 2 to 3 hours as that area moves through. That's Mount Shasta right now. We can go to Mount Whitney. Beautiful shot. Whitney doesn't show much today. I was looking at it earlier. Mountains are awesome because they do create their own weather, I guess, if you will. Or and that's what's left of that complex that's going north, or that thunderstorm complex, but there's some more moisture to the south. Remember that flood advisory? Beautiful cumulus clouds this afternoon. So that moisture, there's some more moisture around. They're going to get something. This is this afternoon. Okay, in the last hour. Jellyfish. There they are. What did we talk about? TCU Lightning Complex. Looked at temperatures, and the general theme today will be a little bit cooler. The surf is kind of just in a mellow range. Kids are back in school. Drive safe. What's up with the kids in the, this is Farallon Islands. Not a very sexy shot of the Farallones. And just, God, does that literally look like look at that pipe with all the moss on it. I mean, it's just yeah, that's just rugged. I was thinking about the kids. This is Venice Beach. I was thinking about the kids kind of ganging up on their, I hate electric bikes. Sorry. I just do, because I think we're kind of a fat country anyway, and I mean, some people need them, certainly, right? If you have heart condition or you're old or whatever, but it's like do what that guy's doing, just get out and move, or pedal a bike. Like, you don't need an electric bike here, but I was thinking, if you're a little kid, you need an electric bike. How awesome are they? Like, right now, for like I just said, there's a place and a time, but when you're 14, you got to have one, man. I would have had to have one. And the way they roam around in their packs, like little gangs. I mean, again, I still it's with the kids, I'm like, I get it. I still hate them. But with the kids, I go, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Can you imagine being a kid and having an electric bike and just going where you want to go? Are you kidding? All right, Venice Beach getting ready for the day. Venice today, it's warm down there. Venice is going to go, what do we got you guys at? Like 85 degrees. That's going to be a warm day. All right. And I love that they clean the streets and so on and so forth. Okay. This camera is a potpourri, if you will. This is Venice, Italy. This is a live camera. And this, I guess these guys just pop in and out. Yeah. Sydney, Australia. Makes sense. Yeah, Sydney, Australia. And let's see what we got. I wanted it to pop. Sometimes I'll pop in this temperature in Celsius, and we know how to get the temperature Celsius to Fahrenheit quickly, right? Let's see if this comes in. Netherlands. Wow. Huh. Netherlands. North Holland. There's a place I've never been. Okay, let's take one more. But I was hoping, sometimes the temperature drops in and they put in the weather conditions on some of these cameras. Looks a little squirrely in Holland today. Funny, when I was a kid, all I knew about Holland was that little Dutch boy that put the finger in the dike. What an interesting story that really proliferated in my youth. Never seen a dike, never seen a little Dutch boy.